kids who grow up in foster care or who spend kind of their teenage and high school years in foster care, their graduation rates from high school are substantially lower than the general population. And their employment rates are substantially lower than the general population. And the rate at which they attend and graduate from higher education is absolutely abysmal. And nationally, when you look at, the statistics of our national criminal justice system, somewhere between 70 and 80% of inmates across the United States are foster care alumni, which is terrible. So Central Georgia CASA is the local affiliate program for Georgia CASA and National CASA that provides volunteer advocates for children who are abused and neglected and placed in foster care. So I'm the executive director, which means I wear lots and lots of different hats. So, obviously I do kind of the management, the public outreach stuff. I kind of jokingly say I'm the HR department, I'm the legal department. I do all our social media. So I do lots of different things, but kind of oversee everything that's going on. Certainly, you don't have to watch the news more than one night to know that there are people out there who will victimize the vulnerable. And children who have been removed from their home and family of origin and placed in foster care are extremely vulnerable because they're not surrounded by people who have known them forever. But then that experience of being removed from their family and then being in the system in and of itself makes them vulnerable to kind of really unfortunate bad outcomes on the other end of their childhood. So kids who experience foster care, especially as teenagers, are at significantly higher rates entering the juvenile justice system, entering our adult criminal justice system within 24 months of reaching adulthood. So Megan Violence Prevention is really designed around preventing violence, as the name suggests. In thinking about preventing violence and preventing these really bad outcomes that MVP is about preventing, our program says, let's back up and get these kids the services and the support that they need when they're, teenagers, so that we avoid these outcomes and we break some of these statistical cycles that end in these really bad places. So we were awarded $25,000, and our plan with these funds is really to focus advocacy in this kind of age 12 and up group in foster care. And so we're using that $25,000 to do some kind of targeted recruitment for people who are specifically interested in providing services to teenagers. The hardest piece is just kind of finding those members of our community who are kind of ready to do this work and have a heart for this work, and just trying to figure out where they are and who they are. So really anybody can be a CASA volunteer. There's not like a minimum educational requirement, but really at its core, being a CASA volunteer is about caring about children. And about the willingness to speak up for those who maybe can't speak for themselves. So volunteers meet with the children that they're assigned to at least once a month, preferably in person in their foster home. So through those interactions, they get to know the child, they get to kind of see what life in the home is like. And then they're interacting, in addition to just with the child, they're interacting with anybody who's kind of touching the life of that child, so that the volunteer then has kind of a comprehensive picture of what's going on with the child. So initially, my involvement kind of stemmed from the fact that I had been a foster parent previously and just saw the need for kids who were in foster care to have that kind of dedicated advocate who was an unbiased voice, who saw the whole picture and could really speak up for them and for what their needs were in court. And I've always wanted to be a part of making things better for our community, no matter what that may look like in different phases of my life. I had extra time and extra space in my life and in my home, and felt the need to serve our community, and felt called by the Lord to do it. The way you care about other people and the way that you show grace and mercy to other people. You don't have to be genetically related to me to do that. Breaking these cycles for kids in foster care, you're not going to see an immediate result, right? It's going to be a result that takes place over over generations and over decades. But really to see, so many of those things and those cycles broken, it's fascinating to me and tugs at my heart. Being a foster parent is really difficult, and not everybody can do that. But everybody can support a foster parent by being an encouraging voice, or by bringing a meal, or by just listening. There's lots of ways that the community can kind of rally around the system and support it. And I think not just in Central Georgia, but really across the nation, foster care matters, not just to the children who are in foster care, but that it matters to the larger life of our community, and not just for today, but for generations to come. And if we want to change the community, we have to change how we as a community are interacting with our foster care system.